Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. As we come to you from the locker room today, I'm Stephen King. We're going to be joined by Islanders head coaches Willis Wilson of the men's basketball program and Royce Chadwick, head coach of Islander women's basketball. We also have a special feature coming up on Islanders baseball, focusing on the closer, Jacob Doris. Right now, it's time to talk some hoops, so with the head coach, Willis Wilson. How you doing?
Doing very well. How are you?
Very good. Big week for the Islanders, no doubt. Picked up two. The sweep of the week, battling the way for a monster win over powerhouse Stephen F. Austin on ESPN3. Nice to have a televised game such as that out. Followed by the nail-biter against New Orleans. Now, Coach, you guys talk about this all the time. You need to be playing your best basketball towards the end of the season. Are you there yet?
We're not there yet, but we're going in that direction. And my hope is that with the remaining practices that we have, it's a short season, but with the remaining practices that we have, we can really begin to work on some things and build some confidence in some areas that are going to allow us to succeed come the middle of March. Our guys have made a lot of progress. It's been a brutal schedule. The thing that we need, and we talk about every day, we need to be rested and we need to be prepared. And so we're at a point where preparation means that we've got to begin to tweak some things. We're trying to grow our bench a little bit. We're trying to give our starters a little bit of rest. We're trying to evaluate schemes that fit our personnel with some of those substitution patterns. And that's been a big issue for us this year, Stephen. We have not had the ability to really substitute the way we want to, but in the last couple of games, that's been beginning to fall in place for us a little bit.
After the game against Stephen F. Austin, we talked with a number of folks, and there seemed to be a consensus, that matchups are crucial in basketball, and we're a difficult one for them.
Well, we have a little bit of a unique perspective in terms of how we wanted to build our basketball team. I think consistently across the board, with one or two exceptions, most teams in our league play small. And we have that ability to play small, but we also have an ability to play big. I think our frontline guys, especially when you look at Bryce Duvier and Rashawn Thomas, Victor Juracek, those guys are multidimensional. They can, and even Del Francis to some extent. They can play inside, they can play outside, and so from an offensive perspective, we can create some balance issues for people. Rashawn's been a nightmare for people down low and in the low post, but he has an ability to go out on the floor and defend. Bryce has an ability to go out on the floor and defend, and certainly with his game, being able to attack guys off the dribble and knock down open threes, that's been a major plus for us.
You mentioned Rashawn. Definitely one of the most difficult matchups in the league, no doubt for anybody, for any team. Against Stephen F. Austin, 20 points, impressive, as were his 8 boards. But for me, the favorite stats, 5 assists, 0 turnovers.
Absolutely. And, sometimes those turnovers are a reflection of how physical and how aggressive he is. He's not afraid of double teams, and he finds himself getting bottled up sometimes. But he's really made some nice adjustments, in particular in that game. We were able to isolate him a little bit more and stretch the floor, give him more space so he could see those double teams coming and could find open guys. And that's something that we're going to have to continue to do consistently, is just really work at space and really work at moving the basketball and continue to play inside out.
There's no doubt. The win over against Stephen F. Austin was fantastic. You couldn't end the season on it. You had to move on to the next game. It was a game 2 days later. University of New Orleans came to town. Long, athletic team. They seem to be a challenging matchup for us. Why is that?
They're a challenging matchup for everybody in this league. They are, and you touched on it, they're long and they're athletic. They're one of the exceptions to the rule in that they play a double post offense. So when people match up against them, they have an advantage with one post or the other because they're playing inside out so much. And they force you to defend in a different way. I think a lot of the struggles that we had in the first half was because they have a presence in their ball screen motion, rolling that screener to the rim, but they're also ducking in a second post. So you have to play those guys honest, and you have to play those guys one-on-one. And if you're helping, they've got those perimeter guys that have that time and distance to be able to read defense and attack in so many different ways, whether it's with an outside three or whether it's driving that ball to the rim. And so I think they present a lot of problems. The other thing that I think people take for granted, the length and the athleticism. With their length, they're going to make plays. They're going to get rebounds. They're going to block shots. They're just going to do some things in a way that more conventional teams aren't able to do. And so I think they really create some matchup problems. The reality is they played Sam Houston State to a 4-point game, a 1-point loss at HBU. And when you go down the list, they've had 2 games where they really struggled, but every other game they've played in the league has been close. I don't think their record is really indicative of how good that basketball team is.
Well, they kept us at bay for quite a while in that contest, but big-time players make big-time plays. And tell me about the final sequence against the Privateers.
Well, the long and the short of it is our offensive execution was really good, and when your execution is good, you usually get a residual opportunity if things don't go well. But, I mean, what an unbelievably great look for Brandon Fye. He had a nice ball game, hit some big shots, and everybody really expected that shot to go down. We had really 3 primary options. You always have John and his ability to get to the rim, but we really set it up looking for Brandon and Rashawn, and giving either of those guys an opportunity at a look. Brandon got a great look, and as that ball was going up, I think everybody in the building could see that ball going in, but Rashawn had the foresight to get to the backside and be the insurance. And boy, did he come up in a big way. He was just able to rebound that thing and put it back, and then step to the free throw line and knock down the free throw. And it was a big moment for our basketball program, and I think especially big because of the circumstances. Playing
Sure.
2 games in 3 days, coming off a huge emotional win, and then being able to grind that one out in that sort of fashion, I think is a real booster for our program.
Well, up next, Incarnate Word Cardinals once again, and Abilene Christian. Last time we faced the Cardinals, we came away with a 1-point win in that one. They shot 55% from the floor in that game. That can't happen again, especially on their court.
Yeah, we're going to really have to play a 40-minute basketball game. I felt like against them, very similar to the HBU game, very similar to the game against UNO last night, and the one in the row. We've got to keep our foot on the gas, and it's going to have to be a 40-minute game for us to be productive.
Well, ACU's lost their last 9. They live and die by the three-pointer, different kind of format, and then hopefully we continue our way.
Yeah, and again, late season, you got to be really on guard. When teams don't have anything to play for, that's sometimes when they play with the most freedom. And so we're going to have to really just keep our belt tight and keep our focus.
Coach, good luck on the road this week.
Thank you.
Coach Willis Wilson joining us here in the locker room. When we come back, we have a special feature focusing on Islander baseball and closer Jacob Doris coming your way right here on Islanders Insider.
The Southland Conference is 4,200 student athletes from 13 member institutions, competing in 17 NCAA Division I sports. We are Southland Strong.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we have a special feature focusing on Islander baseball, and in particular, the closer, Jacob Doris.
Jacob Doris has established himself as one of the top closers in college baseball, but it hasn't been an easy road to get to this point in his career.
As funny as it sounds, I think the level of success that I've been able to have here is a direct reflection of the non-success I had early, the adversity that I faced early. I think Coach Smith and Coach Malone would tell you that early in my career, freshman year, it wasn't very fun to watch me pitch, and it wasn't very fun to be out there doing what I was doing. Lots of walks, lots of hit by pitches, lots of big hits that I gave up, and I think at the time it was rough, and it really stung and it really hurt. And now I see that the value in that, the adversity that I faced early on, is what's made me successful late in my career.
Probably just confidence, and that's as much Jacob as it is every kid out here. That at some point, they get across the white lines and the switch comes on, and they get a little confidence and they start to believe they're good. Everybody's different. I think, Jacob, hopefully he'll tell you he's got as much self-confidence as anybody we have.
Well, first and most importantly is he's an extremely tough individual. I think it's important to, to never despise humble beginnings. He's come from an area where he has had to go fight and earn everything that he's gained. The kid literally shows up every day. He takes a lot of ownership of his throwing program. He takes ownership of making sure that he is continuing to get better. When you take it all together, it's definitely shown a lot of improvement, and he's definitely become a great pitcher for us.
For a player to fill the spot of a closer, it takes a special talent, and Jacob Dorsey's mentality and skill set have allowed him to flourish in that role.
There definitely is. It's a different mentality, and you have to come in and kind of be hard-nosed, and it's a mentality where it's just, hey, you got to get the job done anyway. Any way it happens, the job has to get done. But at the same time, you don't prepare any differently. That's the worst thing you can do, is treat any outing any differently. It doesn't matter if it's 3 runs, if it's 1 run, if it's 10 runs. You go in and do the same job. You try and make the best pitch from pitch to pitch, and just help your teammates out.
It's a mentality, and I think with Jacob, it's probably 2 things. 1, he's got that closer's mentality. He believes he's good. And then 2, he's got the talent. He throws at a completely different arm slot than most guys, and he throws it harder and throws a sharper breaking ball than most guys. So a lot of MLB guys come in here wanting to watch him throw, and I think after this year, you'll probably see him get his opportunity to go play minor league baseball.
Doris isn't caught up in trying to put up individual statistics. For him, it is all about trying to help Islanders baseball be the best it can be.
When you start talking big picture, there's very seldom do you ever have, players that see the big picture. He sees the big picture, man. He is so totally invested into winning. And whenever you have guys like that, you love for those to be the ones that have to go fight to get those last 3 outs, which are always the hardest outs to go get.
Saves are truly a team stat. As much as it's an individual stat, and it's great to get them, and I hope I get 1 million. That's great, but the bottom line is that the only way to get saves is for your team to be winning, and for those guys those hitters to put you ahead, and the starters to get you deep in the game. And so, you're not looking for an individual number, but the more saves that we collect as a team, that's obviously more wins. So the more wins, the better off we'll be.
For Islanders Insider, I'm Teddy Medina. We'll be right back.
Whether you're on the road or at home, GoIslanders.com is your source for Texas A&M Corpus Christi athletics. From live stats to live video to all the latest news, GoIslanders.com has everything to keep you up to date on all the latest on your favorite Islanders team. Check out Islanders schedules and statistics and learn more about the student athletes at the Island University. Get tickets, Islanders game day gear, and more by clicking your way to GoIslanders.com today. Go Islanders! Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we're going to talk some women's hoops with the head coach of the program, Coach Royce Chadwick. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, Stephen.
Well, Coach, 1-1 on the week as you took on the Privateers New Orleans and the Lady Jacks of Stephen F. Austin. Sometimes life and college basketball is a bit of a roller coaster. There's no doubt about that. You're up one day and you can be down the next.
Absolutely. It's a situation where you're only as good as your last game. We won the New Orleans game, felt pretty good about where we were, turned around, play Stephen F. Austin, don't win that one, we don't feel very good. So that's the nature of the business. It's always up and down. Thankfully, you have another opportunity. That wasn't the last game of the year. It's not March. We have an opportunity to bounce back and see what we are made of. And this team's been extremely resilient. We'll see what we can do.
Post play seemed to be the most significant difference in the 2 contests. What I saw, first in the 14-point win over UNO, forwards were dominant. I mean, Ashanti Plummer had 13 boards. Olivia Foudy was a rebound shy of another double-double for her. The interesting fact is that each of them actually had more offensive boards than they had defensive boards in that game.
Well, in matchups, you're talking about when you go against Stephen F. Austin, you got Portia Roberts, who is the best post player in the league. She had 32 on us, and we have a goal every time we go out there. Nobody gets 20 on us. Well, she didn't get 20; she got 32. So, she virtually dominated our entire team that night, and a lot of it was the way we defended her. Some of it was the fact that Olivia Foudy played 17 minutes, before she fouled out. With Olivia playing 17 minutes, she's not going to get her numbers. That means somebody has to come in off the bench and get those numbers. Doshi Davis had pulled a muscle in her chest and was unable to play, so we were a little bit shorthanded, and our bench was unable to go in and match Olivia's numbers.
Yeah, Henderson and Roberts in that SFA game were pretty impressive. It was a great 1-2 combination they had. They were using the inside-out game pretty respectfully.
Well, they have a very good team. You know, there's a reason that they're leading the league. They have a lot of tradition there. They have a lot of confidence right now. They play Lamar later on, and that'll be a great basketball game to see who's going to move into first place. We're struggling right now to get that same toughness, that same confidence, to develop that history that they have. And it just takes some time for us to do the things that we want to do to get up to the next rung. We have a good basketball team. We don't have a great basketball team right now. And we have to get more confident. We got to get in the weight room. We got to get stronger. We got to become a more physical team. We got to be able to handle adversity. And we didn't handle it that well in that game. But every one of those tests, you get a little bit tougher and a little bit stronger. So hopefully by March, we'll be an improved team.
What was interesting, and Shea Weaver, of course, we talk about her on a regular basis. So you're definitely one of the strongest players in your program. In the game against New Orleans, only played 21 minutes, you know, which was 10 less than her average. But so many other teammates really stepped up in that game. Against Stephen F. Austin, she gave you everything she had. Once again, picked up a double-double along the way, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough.
Well, she is our shot maker, and unfortunately that night I think she was 6 of 27, but she was really giving maximum effort trying to get there. We didn't play her against New Orleans on purpose because we knew 40 hours later after that New Orleans game we had Stephen F. Austin. We've been playing Shea 35 minutes. We thought, okay, we'll back up her minutes. She'll be fresher for Stephen F. We were ahead, you know, double digits in the New Orleans game, so we thought, okay, let's save her for the next round. But Stephen F. did a really good job of guarding her, trying to be really physical with her away from the basketball. And she responded with extra effort, but she couldn't get the baskets that we needed to win the game.
Against Stephen F. Austin, Jennifer Ramirez had picked up a season-high 16 points along the way. Do you feel that she is getting more and more confident to be a consistent scoring option for you?
Well, I think that Jennifer came in with a specific game, and we've tried to add to her game. We've tried to make her a quarterback. She was just a basketball player when she came in. We've tried to get her to quarterback our team, do everything that a point guard should do, be the coach on the court, and it's been a slow process. She doesn't like to be vocal. You have to be vocal to be a quarterback. She doesn't like to be bossy, and you have to be bossy, and she's getting better with that every game she plays. So, you know, I think the future is very bright for her. She did not shy away from Stephen F. Austin's physical nature. She responded, and, man, once you get a girl that steps up at that level, now you have something to build on. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of help for her. We didn't have a lot of our freshmen that were able to handle the nature of that game.
I think Jennifer was one of the main reasons why your team did show some resiliency though in that game. It was commendable. They trailed by as much as 20 at the midpoint in the second half. Were able to whittle it down to 12. It's easy to play hard, but to play hard with focus, especially facing adversity, that's when I think you're showing some character on your team.
Without a doubt. You know, everything is a building process. You know, you want to step out there and you want to be respected, but you got to earn that. You want to go out and play with confidence, but you can't play with confidence until you try something and it works out. You know, we have a jump ball play that we ran, and we got a 2-footer to start the game, missed it, couldn't get the offensive rebound, and now we're in a situation where it's like, oh gosh, it might not be our night. Well, at the 1958 mark of the first half, you can't decide this is not my night. You have to fight through some down times, and older, more mature, experienced players are able to do that. Younger ones are like, well, it's not my day. So, you know, those are things that you learn over the course of a season, and we have to get better with our entire team, not just a couple of individuals.
Up next, you have a long road trip to Abilene Christian, followed by a trip to San Antonio to face Incarnate Word. Now, you had a 9-point win over the Cardinals earlier this season. Now, they've struggled as of late, losing 8 in a row. Now, does that make them dangerous, though? Because they're a little desperate for a win.
Well, I think matchups, you know, it's always about matchups, and they match up really well with us. They can shoot the three, and they can get the ball to the rim. They're not much on mid-range, but when you have two aspects that you can do on offense, it's just like Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian is going to shoot the three a lot, and if they get hot and hit a bunch of those, they win basketball games. And, you know, we proved that first year with our team that you're going to win some games just because you're going to hit some shots that are just tough shots. And if you play defense, you know, you're going to win a couple of games that maybe you shouldn't, or that the talent level might not be even. Abilene Christian can beat anybody anywhere because they shoot the three so many times, and Incarnate Word is the same thing. So we have to defend the three-point line, and we got to play. We have to play team schemes.
And like I said, Abilene Christian, one of the hotter teams in the league, winning 5 of their last 7. Most recently knocked off Sam Houston by 15. Again, ACU, are they strictly a three-point shooting team, or do they bring something else to the table?
Well, they get all their points on threes, free throws, and offensive rebound putbacks. So you have to take away 2 of those 3. We're going to try to chase them off the three-point line. That's going to make them drive. We have to play rotation defense without fouling. Then you got to be able to block out after you've rotated. So we hope that we can take away 2 of those 3 and not put them at the free throw line, not give up 23s, and play good defense. And so it's a Herculean task for us. Plus you got to drive to the other side of the moon to get to play the game.
Well, I tell you, Coach, picking up 2 would be big at this time of the season. Hopefully we come back with 2, big smile on your face next time when we meet. It'd be a nice thing.
Absolutely, that's the plan.
Coach, good luck.
Thanks, Steve.
Royce Chadwick joining us once again here in the locker room. When we come back, we'll bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics. Stay with us, more to come on Islanders Insider.
The Countdown to Katy, March 11th through 15th at the Merrill Center. Go to Ticketmaster.com or Southland School ticket offices.
Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, we want to bring you up to speed on what's next for Islanders Athletics. It's a busy week for Islanders Athletics. On Saturday, February 21st, Islander basketball will head on the road to the University of the Incarnate Word for doubleheader basketball action. Game 1 of the doubleheader starts at 2 p.m. Homecoming week starts on Monday, February 23rd, but the Islanders men will be on the road for Tuesday, February 24th, as they travel to Abilene Christian at 7 o'clock. Then on Saturday, February 28th, it is homecoming day, as the women's basketball team will take on Sam Houston State at noon, with the men taking on the Bearcats at 7 p.m. Both games at the American Bank Center, with the men's game televised here on Root Sports Southwest. Islanders baseball will be participating in the Clayburgh Bank College Classic at Whataburger Field. On Thursday, February 19th, they'll take on the University of Missouri at 6 p.m. On Friday the 20th, they'll find Purdue as their matchup at 7 p.m. On Saturday, February 21st, Missouri once again at 7. And then on Sunday, February 22nd, they'll face Southland Conference foes Sam Houston State at 3 p.m. Islanders softball will head out on the road to Houston for the Hilton Plaza Classic. They'll play New Mexico, Illinois, and the host Houston during the event. And this event will run from February 20th through Sunday, February 22nd. The Islanders will be back in town on Wednesday, February 25th, as they have a doubleheader against Texas A&M International, Game 1 starting at 1 p.m. And finally, Islanders Golf has its lone home event of the year on Monday, February 23rd through the 24th, as they host the Islanders Classic at 8 a.m. The event will take place at the Corpus Christi Country Club. Once again, we want to thank Willis Wilson of Islander Men's Basketball and Royce Chadwick of Islander Women's Basketball for joining us once again here in the locker room. And most importantly, we want to thank you once again for tuning in. I'm Stephen King for everyone here. You've been watching Islanders Insider.